ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः Om. May the divine lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace.
This devotional song is describing the beauty and attributes of Sri Krishna. Sweet are thy lips, sweet are thy face, thy eyes, your laughter, loving heart, your words, your lila, everything about you is sweet. Sweet are the dust of your feet, your hand, your dance, your friendship, your songs, what you eat, what you drink, your deeds, salvation, theft, and love, the garland, the ripples in the water of Jamuna, the playful sport with gopi, cows, the goats, the staff, and your creation. Everything about you is sweet, O Krishna. You are the King of sweetness. Adharang madhurang badanang madhurang nayanang madhurang hasitang madhurang hridayang madhurang gamanang madhurang madhuradhipate rakhilang madhurang Vachanang madhurang charitang madhurang vasanang madhurang balitang madhurang chalitang madhurang भ्रमितां मधुरां मधुराधिपते रखिलां मधुरां वेणुर्मधुरा रेणुर्मधुरा पाणिर्मधुरा पादो मधुरा नेतं मधुरं सखं मधुरा मधुराधिपते रखिलां मधुरां गीतां मधुरां पीतां मधुरां भुक्तां मधुरा सुप्तां मधुरां रूपं मधुरं तिलकं मधुरं मधुराधिपतिरखिलां मधुरां करणं मधुरं तरणं मधुरं हरणं मधुरं स्मरणं मधुरं वमितं मधुरं शमितं मधुरं मधुराधिपते रखिलां मधुरं गुञ्जा मधुरा माला मधुरा यमुना मधुरा वीची मधुरा सलिलं मधुरं कललं मधुरं मधुराधिपते रखिलां मधुरं Gopi Madhura Leela Madhura Yukta Madhura Bhukta Madhura Drishtam Madhuram Shishtam Madhura Madhura Dipate Rakhila Madhuram Gopi Madhura Gavo Madhura Yashir Madhura Srishtir Madhura Balitang Madhura Phalitang Madhura Madhura Dhipate Rakhila Madhura Adhara Madhura.
I'm reading from the book Invitation to Holy Company by Swami Kripamayananda. This is an excerpt of his reminiscences of his time with Swami Turyananda and Varanasi. If some failings of the young brahmacharis came to his notice, he would rebuke them severely for correcting them. Again, if he saw even a little of any good characteristic in them, he would say, "You're as good as gold, my dear boys." If Swamiji were living today, he would have danced, keeping you on his head. Hari Maharaj, or Swami Turyananda, who had always been an austere Vedantin, spent his days to the last in Vedantic study and meditation. But while himself following this ideal, he also evinced great faith in the ideal of Karma Yoga as propounded by Swamiji, and encouraged the young sannyasins of the order to follow that ideal. He would say about them, "These are the ones who are working in the right way. The others are simply wasting their time in mere frivolities." But he would keep a strict eye over these youngsters so that they learned to work with faith and a correct attitude of mind as required by the ideal of Karma Yoga. If perchance he found the slightest trace of ego in them, he would draw their attention to it, saying, "Do you think that by these works of yours you have done something unique? What you are doing, I can get done by scavengers for a pay of 15 rupees a month. As for those of you who are working in the office, better workers than you can be obtained by spending 20 to 25 rupees a month. So is there anything to be vain about what you are doing?" Such criticisms of his did not, however, represent his actual way of thought. They were calculated to cut at the root of vanity in these young men. This was proved to us from the following incident. A certain renowned Pandit of Varanasi, who happened to hear such a reprimand of Hari Maharaj, said to a sannyasin, "What Maharaj said is absolutely correct. Qualified as you are, how much more could you have done if you had remained in the world? Instead of that, in what petty works you are spending your days?" When this was narrated to the revered Hari Maharaj, he became very much agitated and said, "How can he understand the meaning of my words? No doubt he is a Pandit, but all the same, he's a worldly man. Note what Sri Thakur used to say, 'If one eats radish, one belches radish.' His case too is like that. After spending all his life in pursuit of self-interest, how can he now understand the true meaning of selfless work? My meaning was entirely different when I said so. What I want is that all of you should do your works of service in a selfless way, entirely devoid of any ego. That alone will lead you to the highest goal. If you saw in anyone the slightest trace of the vanity of holiness or of tapasya, he would sarcastically remark, "What had you been doing in the shrine room? Did you count your beads or simply make a paste of bananas, which is to say, spend your time uselessly?" In other words, if one practices japa and meditation with real earnestness, such vanity will never come. Here ends the reading.
Now, a short period of meditation. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Good morning to you all, and welcome to the Sunday service at the Vedanta Society of Toronto. And today's topic of discussion is thoughts on Bhagavad Gita, the beautiful song that described the beauty and charm of Sri Krishna. Similarly charming is the Gita, message of Sri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. We all know that Bhagavad Gita is a part of Mahabharata, where we find the story of Pandavas and the Kurus. But in there, the great battle starts, and there's the great message of Bhagavad Gita. So why such the thing something come? Why such high philosophy in the battlefield? That question comes after people think there was war going on, battle, death and life, question of that. And how this great philosophy of Atman and Brahman and how to realize God, what is the real purpose of life, what is the ultimate aim of life that we should seek, how such things could be taught in a battlefield. So that way, because this battle is all going on. Gita, the battle is just an allegory, you can say, that to show that battle of life goes on, and in this battle of life, we have to find time for highest philosophy. Swami Vivekananda says, our battle for spirituality must be fought in this life. Life itself is battle. And in this battle, if we wait, that battle will be over and then we will have spirituality, it will never happen. So, as they say, those who wish that waves will subside and then I will swim in water, Like that are the people who think then everything goes away, all the samsaric duties will be over, and then I will take responsibility. It will never happen, always remain. So, while in battle of life, we have to search for spirituality. That's why the background of the great teachings, message of the Gita is in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Uh, it starts from Dhritarashtra saying, Dhritarashtra Vacha Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yudsava. There are the Kauravas and Pandavas are gathered, and their friends gathered for battle in Kurukshetra, which is actually Dharma Kshetra. So it is a place of Dharma comes here. You see, Dharma, first word Dhritarashtra says Dharma. Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre. So Dharma has to be led in the battlefield of life. There is the time to practice Dharma. People say when we are calm and we'll do a lot of meditation, when there will be no work and we'll be at rest. It doesn't happen. Swami Atmanandaji, the teaching was being read. He said, when I was in US and working a lot, that time what meditation I used to have was very, very fine meditation during my busy time. And when I'm monk and I find relaxed, those meditations still I remember how beautiful used to be meditation. So all amidst the work, amidst the busyness, our spiritual practice has to be done. So that is what can be done. That is the background of Gita saying that it all happened. The Arjuna was taught at the battlefield. So how was the battle? It was all prepared, even the conchs were blown, and they were all ready to fight each other. Then comes Krishna's great teaching. And once they're all listening, the Arjuna was listening, and it was being reported to Dhritarashtra by Sanjay. But the Gita is as a part of Mahabharata. It is said that how this came, Gita, it is said, Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayana Swayam. The Gita has been taught by Bhagavan Narayana, Supreme Lord Himself, to Partha, to Arjuna. This is the teaching. Then how this Mahabharata came? Vyasena Grathitam Purana Munina Madhe Mahabharatam. This teaching of Sri Krishna to Arjuna was compiled by Vyasa and put into the Mahabharata. Vyasa might have done in prose in the poem form, poetry form, but Vyasa put it in the Mahabharata. Mahabharata itself wholly composed by Vyasa. But the teachings are original from Krishna to Arjuna. These are God's words. That's why they are called Bhagavad Gita, Song of God. That is what the Bhagavad Gita is. One word is called Bhagavatam. It is about God. Bhagavad Gita, song of God, which God sang, which God told. Why song? Because it's so sweet like music. Its message is so profound, sweet, and very beneficial and joy-giving like a music. That's why song. Now, what is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita? It says Advaita Amrita Varshinim. It says the nectar is there in the Gita. It just nectar is raining forth from the Bhagavad Gita. What type of nectar? Advaita Jnana, the Advaita Amrita Varshini, Advaita Amrita Varshinim. So that is the main purpose. It says about the oneness of existence. Your oneness with the whole existence. You are not separate. You do not exist, but you are existence itself. That is the message of Advaita. You do not exist in time, space, and a place. But you exist for your existence itself. You are not existing sometime. Your existence itself. Then it becomes Advaita. It's like the nectar, most fulfilling, most rejoicing thing when I know that I do not change. I am existence. Nobody can take away my existence. I do not exist in time, but I am existence forever, for eternity. Then it is so joyful, like the nectar. Then that nectar is given by the Gita. Purpose, the main purpose of the Gita is that. And then comes the Bhagavatim Astadasadhyayam. You are the Bhagavati, you are like the mother who gives that knowledge. What mother does? Mother takes care, it nourishes the child. Child grows by the nourishment of the mother and the protection of the mother and the guidance of mother. The Gita does the same thing. It nourishes our spirit and it protects us from taking the wrong steps in our life, and it gives joy, and always protecting, nourishing and guiding. What mother does to a baby, Gita does that to us. That's why Bhagavati, it is Bhagavati Devi, so powerful. And it is Astadasa Adhyayinim, is the this physical body of the Gita is Astadasa Adhyaya. That is, it consists of 18 chapters. We all know it consists of 18 chapters and 700 verses. Amba Tvam Anusandadami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshinim. O Gita, you are Mother, Amba. O Mother Gita, Anusandadami. I study you, I research you, I go into you, Anusandadami. I try to inculcate your teaching in my life. Who will take my worldliness away? Worldliness has to be gone and spirituality has to come. Our worldliness has to be transformed into spirituality, which Mother Gita, Amba Gita has the power to do if we delve into it, if we dive into it. That is about the Gita Mahatma, that is one of the verses it shows. So Swami Vivekananda also says, Gita is knowledge of the Atman is the highest aim of the Gita. That it does, but it does how to have the knowledge of yourself, our true self. That is called knowledge of the Atman. And also Gita goes on saying, how can it say the highest knowledge? As we say in the Upanishads, there the teaching which says Tattvamasi, thou art that. Now how to attain that? I am that eternity, I am that existence. How to know that? That is the problem. You told me that you are eternity. You are not this finite body, but you are eternal soul, eternal Atman. But how to realize? That question, how to practice. That also Gita does by saying that Gita is not only Brahma Shastra, it is not only Brahma Vidya. At the end of every chapter it is said, Brahma Vidyayam, it's also Yoga Shastra. Yoga is the means to attain that Brahman. So Yoga Shastra is also, and also Brahma Vidya, both are there. It has the knowledge of Brahman as we find in the Upanishad, and also it has all the yogas being described, how to attain that Brahma Jnana, how to attain the knowledge of the self. That also is taught in the Gita. That's why it is said, Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastra in the Gita. This ends the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, which contains the Brahma Vidya and also Yoga Shastra. That is the beauty of Gita. It also explains how to attain that. And in the Gita teaching, you will find how to attain Brahma Vidya, how to attain the knowledge of Brahman. You said there are many paths. You can do Dhyana Yoga, as you find in the 6th chapter, sit down in a secluded place with asana in details, how the asana should be made, nati utsritam, nati nicham, chailajina kushottam. Every minor detail Sri Krishna says to Arjuna in that battlefield, where he is asking Arjuna to fight. Don't go away, don't run away from the fight, don't be afraid. And yet he says how to do meditation to attain Brahma Vidya. He in fact wants to say to Arjuna, your battle is also for that purpose of attaining Brahma Vidya, purpose of attaining Atma Jnana. This is one of the paths, other paths are this. So in Dhyana Yoga it says, you sit down there and sit straight and don't think of anything else. Think of the Supreme Lord within your heart. Like that is the very detailed way how we can practice meditation. One of the ways is called Raja Yoga. Swami Vivekananda gave name Raja Yoga for this, or sometimes it's called Dhyana Yoga. Reaching Brahman or the supreme knowledge through Dhyanam. That's how the beauty of the Gita comes. And the Gita, many things are said. What should you eat? what type of personality you should have. Sattva, Raja, Tama. There are three kinds of personalities: Sattva, Raja, and Tama gunas, of which the whole universe is made, and your mind is also made. So, Tamas is the lethargy that you have, sleepy, drowsiness, misunderstanding. Rajas is the sense of glory and to get something, and passionate work and dreams to fulfill. That also human being has. Those are all to be transcended or balanced with sattva. Sattva is the balance of those where you are serene, calm, you work, you are alert, you work, you take rest, and yet you are that calmness, serenity, right understanding. All that is in guna. So these are also described in the yoga. How in the Bhagavad Gita, how our life should be. We should be calm, serene, thoughtful, understanding, not haughty, impulsive, or lazy, or procrastinating. Those are tamoguna and rajaguna. Be in sattva-guna. And from sattva-guna you will reach, you have to, the goal is beyond even guna. That is also told in the Bhagavad Gita. How to become, transcend the three gunas. In the 14th chapter you'll find that. So wonderful scripture of mankind. That's why it said song of God or scripture of mankind. In Bhagavad Gita, never nowhere it is said it is for this person, following this religion, having this faith. Nothing is said. It is open book for every humankind. There is no restriction that one has to do this and one cannot do that. So this is the broadness of Bhagavad Gita. It's not meant for one particular community. It is meant for whole mankind. When God comes to this world in Ajavatara, He comes to elevate the mankind all over the universe, all over the world. And that's how His teachings are very universal teaching, where everyone can find their own way of thought. So that's why the four yogas are so well described in the Bhagavad Gita. In that, Bhagavad Gita also said, as I said, what should you eat? Like sattvika ahara, rajasika ahara, tamasika ahara, all are said. And then how to be charitable, that's also it is said in the Gita. That's, those three kinds of charity, sattva, raja, tama, as in eating, thinking, or habit. Similarly, in charity also there are three kinds of charity. One is said the impulsive charity, that you want to give something just impulsively, you feel joy in giving without thinking anything. But just you feel joy, I gave something. That's impulsive, your impulse says. That's called tamasika dana. And another is, no, you are not impulsive, but you think with some purpose you give, but the purpose is your name and fame. I want name and fame. My name should be written on the plaque and it should be advertised in the TV. That becomes Rajasika Dana. And the Sattvika Dana for one's own glory. Sattvika Dana is done the right way and in the right manner, in the right time to the right person. Who, what needs will be beneficial to that person. When it is done that way, that becomes Sattvika Dana. A lot of thought goes on. And you don't seek any glory of yourself. And it is not impulsively given with lot of thought and lot of respect for the being given. In Rajasika Dana is something, oh, I am here to give you, you enjoy that, like that thing. So Sattvika Dana, like that. Even these three guna, three types of character described so vividly in the Bhagavad Gita. The main teaching of the Bhagavad Gita, Swami Vivekananda says, reconciliation and harmony of all four yogas. These four yogas are already found in the Vedanta, in the Vedas are there. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Raja Yoga are there. So earlier, what would happen? Each one said, this is the way to realize God or to achieve ultimate. The Jnana Yogi would say, no, dhyana by dhyana you cannot do, because dhyana is something you want to achieve. You have to sit there and do. The knowledge is there. You are already a Brahman. Just remove the ignorance that you are not Brahman. And by how to remove? Just by thinking that you are not Brahman. Whatever I was thinking is wrong. Do bichara. What is reality? Everything that is around me, what I perceive is all unreal. I am the real. By thinking that you will reach. And you will find it here, now itself, without doing anything. Sitting also is a doing. So they say Raja Yoga is not the way, or karma, everything by working you will get God. Working binds you. It creates more desire by work. So work, if you do unattached, maybe you will have chitta shuddhi. Then you will be able to think in the right way, do vichara, and then you will realize God. The ultimate is thinking, vichara, viveka. Without that, not reaching ultimate. Others says worship God. Worshipping God as some being else, some other person, some other being other than you. It's all Dvaita. How will you realize your own self by that? You just give flower and show light and offer fruit as if God is eating. By that, how you expect to realize your true self? You are not moving toward that at all. So Dvaita is lesser than Advaita. Like that, thoughts were already there around. People were quarreling according to their yoga that they practiced. Sri Krishna said and said, no, all yogas are capable of teaching you God. All yogas are capable. They are very valid, everything. That's why he took Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Raja Yoga. All are taught chapter-wise in the Gita. And also how to practice them. What is the highest reality? How to achieve that? And this all he says to Arjuna, who was not ready to fight, and said, you will realize God by doing your action now. Nimitta matram bhava sabya sachin. Oh Arjuna, you just be agent, just be something that you are doing. Doer is someone else. Don't think you as the doer, that I am shooting, I am killing, I am conquering. That is wrong. You are doing nothing. You just go on doing as if someone is making you do. So all with humility and surrender to the will of God, and making equal whether you win or lose. Same thing. Just you have to fight here, fight. Whether you kill your enemies or you are killed by enemies, you should treat both equally. And that's where you will reach God. Ultimate goal is realizing God, not winning the war. Ultimate goal is realizing God, but that has to be done by performing our duties without attachment. So that nimitta matram bhavasabhya sadhana. He said that way. That's the beauty of Bhagavad Gita. Then four yogas each can reach you goal to the goal. That is said very beautifully. There is still people who are not understanding. Yes, someone Jnana Yogi will say, I will reach by my goal. Other Bhakti Yogi will say, I will reach by my goal. It is said in the Bhagavad Gita. Then there was someone else needed to say, no, no, you all need to do all yogas. Combine all yogas to reach God. That is the way. Sometimes you do prayer in the morning, worship God in the morning, then after that you do meditation, then go and work for the society, for the people you work, perform your job, and in the evening come and do meditation. So, and do vichara that this world is unreal, God alone is real, and my soul is God. My Atman is God. My Atman Tattvamasi, that thou art. And that way you do vichara, vichara and viveka, jnana yoga, you perform worship of God, and also you do dhyanam, and also you perform reaction without attachment. Combine all four yogas in your life, and that way it will be easier for you to reach God. Nothing contradicting with what Krishna said, that all yogas are capable, each one is capable to reach the goal. All right, that is true. But when you combine together in your life, because all of you have all these faculties, it's inborn, it's innate in us, and you combine together, and it will be easier for you to reach the goal. That's what Sri Ramakrishna had to come and say, and Swami Vivekananda had to spread that message of Sri Ramakrishna. Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva. Work and meditation, work and vichara going together. So Swami Vivekananda brought that working thing of the Bhagavad Gita, Karma Yoga. Some emphasize very much of the Karma Yoga, like Tilak writes, Bala Gangadhar Tilak. He writes the commentary of the Bhagavad Gita and gives the name Karma Yoga Rahasya. That is the name of the, it's all about the Karma Yoga Gita. So that we have to do. Swami Vivekananda also laid much emphasis on the Karma Yoga, which was lost from our spiritual practice. We only prayer and meditation, prayer and the vichara, jnana yoga. That was more there. Bhakti yoga and jnana yoga. But Swami Vivekananda said you have to bring karma yoga in your life. We have activity, we are given, we have power to work, life force. To utilize that for God realization and also for the upliftment of the society, doing good to the society. That will give you good. It is not philanthropic in that idea, but a worship of God. For the goal is not just the alleviation or the improvement of the society. Goal is your own spiritual upliftment. For that, you worship the people as manifestation of God. Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva. That's Swami Vivekananda brought in the Ramakrishna order and asked monks to do the service as essential part of the monastic life, which was not done earlier. Only Buddhists used to travel around, they used to give some medicine and take care a little bit. They're very compassionate monks. But the Hindu monks were all in prayer, puja, or in having their own routine, unconnected, unconcerned with the society. Go and have some alms, then go and read shastras, do meditation, clean the pots, and take rest in the afternoon and do meditation in the evening. Done. Nothing. So Swami Vivekananda didn't want that. Only that he said it has to be compared. You have still more power than do. You can do karma yoga that he brought there. So Swami Vivekananda said, work incessantly is the message of the Gita. Swamiji also says about Tilak. Work incessantly, without break. Work, work, work. That is the essence of the Gita. That Gita says. And how to work? Work is binding. Work brings bondage. That is the problem with the work. How to work to make ourselves free. Karma is binding. So he said karma will bind, but karma yoga will release, will deliver, will make you free. So what is karma yoga? Work, but without expectation. Work without attachment. Work without any self-interest. That will free you. So if that karma yoga is done, then you will be freed. So, and this, Sri Ram Swami Vivekananda said, what is karma yoga? Think of one very nice thing. He said, pay as much attention to means of work as to its end. Always goal oriented. I want to prepare a nice tasty dish. So that is your goal. And you think of nice tasty dish and aroma, but you are not aware how much spices you are putting, how much salt you are. He said, give attention to every little thing that you are doing to have a goal, have an end. Then it becomes karma yoga, working with mindful, full mind put in the work. Every bit of mind has to be put in the work. As he heard from Pabhari Baba, that when I clean this pot, I think that is my purpose of my life is cleaning this pot, and the pot is to shine like gold. So that is the karma yoga. Swamiji says, karma yoga is dexterity in work. There is the yoga karma su kausalam. You have to work very finely and you have to bring out the result nicely. It is not that work anything. We are not interested in the result. That means result can be anything. Not that. Result has to be good. But you don't take credit for the good result. You just say it is done by God's will, by God's power. You don't take credit. You feel you are not the doer. That is what the karma yoga is. But result has to be good. It has to be done with dexterity, with all your effort. Do all as a sacrifice or offering to Lord. So either you say, I did it for the Lord's sake. So do everything and then Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu, Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Or do as sacrifice. As it is done, I don't have anything to do. All I have done with all full attention, that becomes karma yoga. Nothing you want. So that is the very essence of the Bhagavad Gita. My wants are as nothing compared with the demands of Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, commanding a huge army, and yet he could find time in the midst of the din and turmoil of battle to talk the highest philosophy and to carry it into his life also. Surely we ought to be able to do as much in this life of ours. comparatively free, easy and comfortable. So says Swami Vivekananda. When Sri Arjuna can listen to the Gita in that battlefield and say, whatever you say, I'll follow that. Sri Krishna, Arjuna said at the end. First he said, I don't want to fight. It's a sin to kill your kinsman. And Sri Krishna gave all the message of the Gita, how you should do perform karma yoga, what is the reality, Atman is it cannot be killed, and you are thinking you are killing someone. And then he showed Vishwarupa Darshana, all have been killed. You seem that you were killing, but you are not killing. So like that he said, and then at the end Arjuna said, and he said, yes, whatever you say, I will do. Surrender to you. And that's why in the Gita, it is said, one Swami said the heart of the Gita is the verse 16 of chapter 2. Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sata. So that is the heart. What is existence? There will be no not being of the existence. Na sato vidyate bhavo. Asat, non-existence will never exist. And whatever is existence will never be non-existent. That is the truth that Gita says. This is the highest philosophy. So if we are existing, we'll never be non-existing. And if we do not exist, we'll never exist at all. We are not existing now also. So if we feel we exist, we'll be ever existing. That is the thing. There's no death for us because we know we exist. So if we do not exist, we are not existing now also. That's this meaning of the second verse, 16th verse of the second chapter. So some say it is Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Saranam Braja. Be devoted to God, surrender yourself fully to God, and God will then guide you. Replace your ego with God and God's will, and God, you will find you are being guided by God's will. There is no your selfish interest, but God's will will guide, your mind will be pure like that. Some say it is Yat Karo, Sri Krishna says, by that way be surrendered to me, Sarva Dharman Parityajya. How to do that? How to give up all? He said, do everything. Yat Karoshi, Yadasnasi, Yad Juhosi, Dadasi Yat Tapasyasi Kaunteya, Tat Kurusham Atmadarpanam. So whatever you do, that you offer to me, that I am giving it to Sri Krishna. As Vyasa said, if I have not eaten anything, Yamuna be parted. And Yamuna parted. He had eaten before that. But he didn't eat. He offered to God. Yat Karoshi, whatever you do, offer to God. This is for the pleasure of Krishna, pleasure of God. Yadasnasi, whatever you eat. Yadjuhosi, whatever you offer as oblation and worship. And whatever you give in charity, Dadasi Yat. Yet tapasya, whatever tapasya you did, austerity, your worship, japam, you offer all that. Kaunteya tat kurushva mad arpanam, all that you do to me. Often we say in our daily upasana, we say after doing all our upasana, offer all the fruits to your Ishta. You don't have to get any merit out of this. Then my Ishta, how will I be purified if I don't want any fruit? I do japam because I want to be purified my mind so that I can become spiritually awakened. No, even that you cannot do. Whatever will be done by your Ishta. Offer all your fruit of upasana to Ishta, rely on him, and when you have relied on someone like that, he will take all your care. Don't worry for yourself, just offer everything. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu, Sri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu. That's why I said, whatever you do, you offer to your Ishta. Beautiful verses like that. And many says, even our Ramanujacharya says, the culmination of the Bhagavad Gita is Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Braja. You just take refuge in me. Whatever God will guide, you do that. Don't have any selfish interest. Aham tva sarva papebhyo mokcheshyami. I will relieve you from all sins. If you think something wrong will happen by that, Sri Krishna particularly to Arjuna. If you think you are killing your kinsman will generate sin in you, don't worry, no sin will be there. Moksha I'll free you from everything. Just you give it to me and do as I say. Ma Shucha, don't worry, don't be sad, don't have any other thought. So I am there for you. So this is the this is the ultimate of Bhagavad Gita. It is all saying after do meditation that way and work without attachment and worship with whatever you. For worship also, Sri Krishna makes it so simple. What is worship? You don't have to procreate. You don't have to gather all the things of that are needed, like big Shodasopachara puja. He says, whatever is there available, you offer that to me with love. Patram, Pushpam, Phalam, Toyam. A simple thing that you get leaf, flower, fruit, and water. And offer that to me, whatever you have. Yome Bhaktya Prayachati. Whoever gives me that simplest thing that are around, Asnami Prayatatman. I accept all that, I eat all that. That's what he says. But it has to be done with bhaktya. It has to be done not for a show, not with thinking of something else, with love. Bhakti is here, love. That love, if you with love you do, all I will accept. So that is love is the important part. Loving good, surrendering to God. That is the thing that Sri Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. The main thing is surrender yourself to your Ishta, to God. How God helps, this is written in the Bhagavad Gita's, the Dhyana slokas. One beautiful sloka is how difficult situation where Krishna, where Pandavas fighting itself was. Pandavas have only 7 Akshayani and Kauravas has 11 Akshayani, almost close to double. Army, very big army this Kauravas had, and all great warriors. Drona, Bhishma, all those great warriors, invincible. Drona was the teacher of Arjuna. He all taught. So how much knowledgeable he will have in Astra. And Drona has the boon that he will die only because of his, if he had Putra Shoka, if his son dies. And his son was declared immortal, will not die. Now Drona will not die. And he will kill all. That type of person they had to fight. And Bhishma is one of the Ashtavasus, expert grandsire. Nobody can do anything to Bhishma. So, like those people were there, they have to fight. Big army, expert archers, expert warriors, powerful than this Pandava's small army. And they had to fight. What it says, what are the situations they are fighting? In the world also, we often find sometimes very difficult situation. But with God on our side, everything happens. Bhishma Drona Tata Jayadratha Jala. So this there is a pool, water, river. What river is there? The Bhishma and Drona are its banks. Bhishma Drona Tata. They will be always flowing and guarding the river. River is the battle. And what is the water? Jayadratha. Very shrewd person, very ruthless person. Jayadratha is the water. It is very ruthless. And Gandhara Nilotpala. And there are the blue flowers which are very entangling, blue lotus flowers. That is the king of Gandhara, blue lotus flower in that river, in that water. Shalya Grahavati. And there is a big, powerful king, Shalya, who is the shark in that water. And Arjuna, this Pandava had to cross that. How will they cross? This water itself is so poisonous, like Jayadratha is there, and this protected by Bhishma and Drona. And there is entangling of Gandhar, king of Gandhara. And not only that, there is the Shalya Grahavati, the shark, like Shalya is moving in that. Kripena Vahani, the Kripacharya is another teacher of them, and he is like the force, rapids. Vahani is flowing. Karnena Velakula, and there are the big breakers, big waves of Karna. So it is very difficult to cross this river. All short with you may die any moment. Anything can kill. Powerful beings are there. Ashwathama Vikarna Ghora Makara. And not only shark, there are alligators. Who are the alligators? Ashwathama and Vikarna. So Vikarna is another. Ashwathama Vikarna Ghora Makara and Duryodhana Vartini. Not only this, there are huge whirlpools. And that is who is whirlpool? Duryodhana. If you go there, you will drown in whirlpool. How will Pandavas cross this such river? They had to cross that. Sotirna Khalu Pandavai. Even Pandavas, all Pandavas, they crossed over that river. How did they cross? In a boat? You can say both. Rana Nadi, that river of this river of battle, is the river of battle they call because Kaivartaka Keshava. Because the boatman was Keshava. Otherwise, their boat will drown, they could not cross. God was helpsman. God was the boatman. Always that when God is there with us, everything is possible. So that's what it says. Make God your life. That is the message of the Gita. Be with God. And what Sri Ramakrishna says about the Gita, what is the teaching of the Gita, what is the main, what Swami said, the 16th verse of the second chapter, some say, Bhaktya Amam Abhijanati Yavan Yaschasmi Tattvata. By devotion alone, you can know me who really I am, God says. Who and what I am in reality, Tattva. Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati Yavan Yaschasmi Tattvata Tato Mang Tattvato Gyatva. After devotion, then you will know me fully in reality. Vishate Tadanantaram. Then you will enter into me. All your ego will be dissolved into God. Your ego will not be there, only God will be there. I will not be there, all you will be guided by God. How will this happen? First word, bhaktya. By devotion alone, you will know God in truth. That is Advaita Jnana. When you dissolve and ego vanishes, then it is Advaita Jnana. How it will happen? Through bhakti, through loving God, through worshipping God, through doing japam and prayer, through trying to thinking of God. You will know fully me. Through bhakti you start, you want Advaita is too big, merging in God. You will reach that, you will merge in God. That's Sri Krishna says something, these very beautiful words. But what's Sri Ram essence of the Bhagavad Gita? Sri Ramakrishna said very simply, what is the essence of Gita? Just repeat the Gita name. Gita, 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 Tyagi, renounce for God, renounce everything. Again, renunciation doesn't mean becoming a sannyasi, throw away everything and become sannyasi, not that. Be unattached, antar sannyasa, be unattached to anything. Don't have the thought of doership and ownership. I own this and I do this. God is the doer and God is the owner. We are here, we and with thinking that I am using the thing that God has given me, nothing belongs to me. And you use, we can use that and we can enjoy that, but not to be attached that when we give up the ownership, then our attachment is not there with that. And when our attachment goes, then God comes into our life. So giving the ownership, naham karta, naham bhokta. Ownership, doership is karta, I am not the doer. Naham bhokta, I am not the enjoyer of the thing, or I do not own the thing. If we can have that, then the love for God will increase. Then we will be attached to God. Don't be attached to God and don't be attached to the world, be attached to God. That's what Sri Ramakrishna said. So, Ishware Anurag, Vishaye Virag. That is called Vairagya. Don't be attached to anything, but attached to God. That's what Sri Krishna, Sri Ramakrishna said, Tyagi, Tyagi. Don't be attached to anything of the world. Doesn't mean give up everything, give up God also. No. God you have to attach, you have to make him your own and be devoted to God. By that way, you will realize the truth. Ramakrishna taught that. So Swami Vivekananda said at one place, if there is anything in the Gita that I like, it is these two verses coming out strong as the very gist, the very essence of Krishna's teaching. He who sees the Supreme Lord dwelling alike in all beings, the imperishable in things that perish, he sees indeed. For seeing the Lord as the same, everywhere present, he does not destroy the self by the self, and thus he goes to the highest goal. Samam pashyani sarvatra samavasthitam ishwaram na hinasti atmanatmanam tato yati parangvatim. This chapter 13, verse 28. Sri Swami Vivekananda also like those two verses that the klevyam masmagama partha naitatvayu papadyate. He says, this is the very essence of the Gita that Gita teaches. Be strong. Don't be weak. Klevyam masmagama. When Sri Krishna and Arjuna said, I don't want to fight killing these people in Karsin. Sri Krishna said, what is this faint-heartedness coming to you at this crisis? you give up everything, and you that should not be there. You should fight for justice. And that's why this bird, Swami Vivekananda, like manliness. Swami Vivekananda always like, he said, the older I grow, I feel that everything lies in manliness. If you do not have manliness, you do not even aspire to realize God. Naim Atma Balahine Labhya, says Shastra. Without balam, force, virya, we cannot even realize God. People cannot realize God. That type of power has to be there, that type of energy, that type of faith that I will realize God. That's why he says, this is beautiful. Kaivya masmagama partha naitattayu papadyate shudram hridaya darvalyam tyaktva tista parantapa. Get up, arise. He had sat down with going the same, keeping his Gandiva down, no fight, decided, great king, great person, great friend of Sri Krishna. Then Sri Krishna had to rouse him, saying, what this faint-heartedness? You are talking like a cleaver. Cleaver is impotent. We have nothing to do. We cannot do nothing. Like that you are talking? You are the valorous king. The whole world knows you as the brave person. Give up that and rise. So we can't like this verse very much. And he said, this is the message of the Gita that we all should inculcate in our life: bravery, self-confidence, and setting the goal and trying to reach there through our effort and God's grace. When we start putting effort, God's grace follows, and that's how the thing happens. And ultimately, when we achieve, then to know that it's not my effort that we realize later on. It's not my effort that did, but there was something, some grace of God was there. So that is my thought on Bhagavad Gita. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank you all for being here. I'll do the closing chant, then we'll close, and then formal thanks. We may go. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu Jananim Saradam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padpadme Tayo Sritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu. जय श्री गुरु महाराज जी की जय, जय महामाई की जय, जय स्वामी जी महाराज जी की जय, जय गंगा माई की जय, जय भगवान बुद्ध की जय, जय ईशा मूषा की जय। सर्वस्तरतु दुर्गानि सर्वो भद्राणि पश्यतु सर्वसद्बुद्धिमाप्नोतु सर्वत्र नन्दतु। Hari Om Tat Sat. May all be freed from dangers. May all realize what is good. May all be activated by noble thoughts. May all rejoice everywhere. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto us all. No collection.